Call me on the zombie takeout style.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Call me on the zombie takeout style.
What the hell are you talking about?
Call me down on the zombie takeout style.
Oh! Say my bammies, welcome to episode 287 of Zombie Takeout.
Zombie Takeout.
The movie and cult movie podcast. I'm Uncle John.
I'm Scotto.
And before we get to this week's movie, which you should be obvious by now, we've got some listeners submitted. This is from John Phillips on Facebook in reference to last week's episode, our review of Batman and Robin. He said, I went and saw this as a matinee at the Seacourt Pavilion in Tom's River. I'm already laughing at the I went and saw this part. It's Batman. How could it be bad? It has George Clooney. I was a fan of ER. It's got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fan of most of his 80s films. It's got Uma Thurman. Liked her in Pulp Fiction. Alicia Silverstone. Makes those Aerosmith videos enjoyable. And Chris O'Donnell. I got nothing for him. I have never wanted to walk out of a film before this, but I kept bullshitting myself. It'll get better. Maybe I didn't because I only paid $4. You were being facetious about Batgirl's nipples, right? I didn't see this in theaters, but if I had, it would have been one of 3 movies I've walked out on. The other 2 being Patch Adams and The Cell.
I don't remember if we walked out or not, actually. I think we did. Way too drunk.
And I was kind of being facetious about the nipples just because I know why she didn't have nipples on the costume, because it probably would have landed it an R rating, even though it's rubber.
Of course.
Yeah. But, I was just pointing out the unfairness there.
I think we joked about that, about the equality of nipples.
Yeah. And also, John pointed out in that thread that Arnold Schwarzenegger was probably the only cast member who had really any say on his lines. And you had pointed out that by that point in his career, he was so desperate for a hit that he was just really willing to do anything.
Right. I mean, he had a couple of movies that, they grossed moderately well. Mm-hmm. They didn't lose money, right. Eraser and Jingle All the Way.
Right.
But they were far from like these, cultural, Terminator,
right. This was the era where he was doing Jingle All the Way and Kindergarten Cop and things like that.
So this is way past Kindergarten
Cop. Oh, it was past Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
Okay.
This, I think that was like 90 or 91
was
kind of
early?
thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So this was the beginning of the end of his movie career, really, because he wasn't.
He shifted into politics, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Or was he already in politics by that point?
2 other movies that he did after this, like Around the World in 80 Days, and just really, really bad stuff.
Right. And we also got an email from Chaz in reference to episode 300. I kind of teased that 300 arguably has a zombie in it. I may have overstated that. Chaz said, Hey guys, Chaz here. Hey dudes, looking forward to a review of the movie He Never Died. Not quite a zombie movie, but next best thing. He is like a cannibal and loves finger food after all. Saw this movie very recently and enjoyed it. Lots of questions though. Hope your review helps. I was going to recommend this for episode 300, so that would be cool if it makes it. Thanks for listening, Chaz. Chaz also sent us a voicemail, which I'm not including because I have senioritis because, we're off for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to bother editing it in. He was talking about a movie with a cannibal in the voicemail. Presumably, it was He Never Dies. This is ironic that Chaz should mention this because it's not on the list. I think this is what he thinks we're doing for episode 300. It's not. But we were talking about this movie a couple of weeks ago while looking at Netflix. It was the one with Rollins in it, the horror movie.
Oh, right.
I didn't remember the title till I watched the trailer.
I wish he had brought that up before Batman and Robin so we could have put that off.
Yeah. Although that would have been the last one before the break then.
Yeah.
We'd have been going out on Batman and Robin now.
So then we would have put it off even longer.
Oh, true. So it's ironic that Chaz brought that up given that we were already looking at it but hadn't put it on the list yet. But no, it's not 300. The character in 300 who I was referring to isn't exactly a zombie, but he's not quite alive. He's animated and can speak and move and whatnot, but he's not alive. And
He's
that's
not fooling anyone.
Yeah, that's about all we can say, and that's a damn good hint. We'll be officially announcing it in episode 395, I think we decided. 5 episodes before. Yeah. Also, just thought of this. We have to crowbar a movie in early August. I don't remember the date offhand, but late July is Sharknado 4. I'm sure we won't be wanting to get to that as soon as possible. All right, so on to some news. This is from Slash Film. Warner Brothers wants Justin Lin to direct the live-action Akira adaptation. I'm not actually going to read the text of the story this time because the headline says it all. I will point out that this could be a rumor since it was revealed by Jeff Snyder from The Wrap on Meet the Movie Press instead of in an official trade. So, it's got rumor status at this point. I hope it's just a rumor because aside from my issues with, moving it to America and removing all of the subtext, with World War II and whatnot, Justin Lin has yet to prove that he can direct anything other than car chases.
Well, we will see.
He's doing the new Star Trek.
Right, we will see in like 3 weeks, which I'll probably go see that.
I'll check it out at some point. I like the other two. I'll give it a shot.
Because visually the other two were really, they were definitely worth seeing in the theater. Yeah. Like the red planet that they were on in the last one.
They could save it if they decide to, put it back in Neo Tokyo. And if Justin Lin proves he can direct more than car chases, then maybe it'll be good. But at this point, it doesn't look good.
I think they're afraid if they keep it in Japan, they actually have to have a Japanese cast.
Yeah. Actually, the article points out that a possible reason that they hired Justin Lin is because he's Asian. He's Taiwanese. Obviously, Akira's Japanese, but still he's Asian, so it's closer. And they're saying that this was the movie that the studio is thinking. Yeah.
He's from the same continent.
Exactly, yeah. Jesus. I'm hoping that's not true. Anyway, on to this week's movie, which is from 2001, Pootie Tang. Of course, that brings us to the impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Tasty Heavy Pork Chunks cereal. It's delicious. It's a wonderful product. Kids love it.
What a time. And also brought to you by Pootie Tang's latest single. Look for it in a record store near you.
It's got a great beat. You can dance to it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we begin with Later with Bob Costas.
Yeah, that was the name of the show. I couldn't think of it.
And which that was a show that anytime you actually saw it, it was like, wow, this is still on.
Yeah.
Which of course the heir apparent to that has been Carson Daly and Last Call, which you're like,
I'm actually gonna say that's still on.
Yes. I think it is still on, actually.
That wasn't a joke. I honestly meant that.
It's the same deal. Like, they never advertise it, and it's just, there it is.
Well, Carson Daly got to eat.
If you happen to be, one of those people who can't sleep, there it is for you.
Well, that's what the internet is for, isn't it?
Yeah, now, these things started before the internet, though. Costas,
Costas, certainly. But I mean, talking about Carson Daly.
94, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, that was before the internet, but Carson 93. Daly. No, anyway.
But, so, yes, he's interviewing Pootie Tang, and he's, of course, a rapper, actor, pottery aficionado. And he's...
Cobbler, which I noticed at the end of the movie.
Oh, cobbler. Okay. And he is he's there to promote his latest film, and they go to a clip, which is of course the movie itself.
Loved that. Great framing device.
Yeah, it is. And then for some reason, but they come back later with Biggie Shorty being interviewed by Bob Costas. No idea why, but yes. So it's about the life of this rapper and his upbringing. They give his origin
actually he's
story.
Primarily a crime fighter more so than anything. Everything else is kind of on the side.
It does turn out that way, right? He's the crime fighter superhero who has the talisman and in the form of the belt, and it
Always got to bring Campbell into it.
Yeah, I do. Well, he's there.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Come on, man. Obviously, the belt was a
Right, yeah,
talisman.
I'm kidding.
And then, of course, the power was really within him all along.
Yeah.
So, he is, well, he's being pressured by this, by corporate America. And I'm not just saying that in generalization. That's what they
That's literally
actually call it in this movie.
This movie was kind of ahead of its time.
I don't know.
Well, it's become much more of a centerpiece issue these days than it was in 2001.
You're probably
They were
right.
ahead of the wave. I'll put it that way.
You are probably right about that. So, Pootie's being pressured into becoming their spokesman. He refuses, of course, because they're all about just killing kids and fatting people up and, just keeping people stupid. And instead, he gets tricked into it, and they steal his belt, and he goes on a soul-searching mission, which is, just to live out in the farm for a bit. And then he realizes he doesn't need the belt when he gets, from his parents, and that's when he kicks some ass and comes back to reclaim his name, and hilarity ensues.
That was much more concise than I was expecting.
As opposed to last week, it's a very simple plot.
Yeah, true. This was written and directed by Louis C.K., adapted from a comedy sketch on The Chris Rock Show, which I did not know until I did the research. And this is the second or third, probably maybe even fourth time I've seen the movie. I've seen it a number of times. I had no idea it was Louis C.K.
It's very weird that he would write something like this. I mean, you would think it's out of his wheelhouse.
Well, it actually came from nonsense talk that he used to do as a kid to amuse himself. He would try to, speak gibberish, but speak it in a way that it sounded like he was actually saying something. And then he just took that idea and came up with an idea for a sketch when he was working on the Chris Rock Show.
Well, yeah, because you had some rappers that would just, kind of mumble some things. You have rock stars that would just kind of mumble some things, too.
And a lot of why this movie works as well as it does, I think, is that Lance Crowther, who plays Pootie Tang, bears a striking resemblance to Billy D. Williams.
He does, doesn't he?
And I think that just sells it that much more.
Oddly enough, not when Billy D was younger, though.
Well, no, actually, probably like around
Billy D.
Around the 80s, like when, Star Wars era.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say now, I'm not going to bother with the science in this movie. This is not a movie to mess with the science. He deflects bullets with his ponytail at one point.
Which I actually put my notes was when I got into it.
Yeah.
Because, that's just funny.
Is this the first time you've seen it?
No.
Okay.
You know what? I never saw the beginning before. I hadn't seen the beginning before this. I'm trying to remember where it was that I picked it up, but yeah, I didn't see that. And I think that's where Sucker Punch got the idea from, actually.
Oh, yeah, probably.
About dancing being a form of fighting.
Yeah, Sucker Punch borrowed quite a bit from this, I think.
Only they were serious.
Yeah. It's fun.
But yeah, you can't pick science in this because this is absurdism.
Right, exactly.
Which is why it bombed so badly because,
nobody gets absurdism.
Americans don't get absurdism.
Right. Actually, and this was a big departure from Louis C.K.'s vision. He was basically all but fired during the editing process.
Really?
And one of the producers actually edited the movie. And he actually agreed with something Ebert said, which is that the movie should never have been released. They also added the narration against his wishes, which I actually like.
Well, I like it because it actually pokes fun at the narration trope.
Right.
Yeah, but the scene...
Pootie Tang's best friend Chucky is narrating the whole thing, and basically just, he's pulling a Statler and Waldorf, basically.
Well, the scene where he's, talking about what he's feeling, even though those are the lines.
Yeah, exactly.
He's saying, it's funny as hell.
Right. And they also have the character, Casey, I want to say his name was, he just kind of repeats everything that's said.
Yes.
I got a kick out of him, just because it's another trope.
Said that.
Yeah. And the interview at the very beginning was just the perfect way to just kind of jump you into the idea. Because right off the top, you have to deal with Pootie Tang's language.
Well, right. I mean, the beginning is a bit rough with the exposition.
I mean, the very beginning with the interview before any of that.
Yeah.
Because you just have to deal with Pootie Tang's language. And this is a movie that has a protagonist and title character who almost entirely speaks in gibberish for the entire movie.
He never says one coherent line.
There's a word here or there that's actual English, but most of it is gibberish, yeah.
But if you put the entire line together, they never make any sense.
No.
So I'm surprised. I mean, this does seem like Louis C.K. still hadn't found his voice.
It doesn't really feel like his work. Even the concept doesn't really feel like his.
But, I mean, and then he goes on to do more personal things later on. But, so it's kind of weird that he'd get fired off his own film, though.
Yeah. Oh, and it wasn't all bad reviews. Kevin Murphy of MST3K fame, he was Tom Servo, praised the film in his book A Year at the Movie, saying, Pootie Tang crosses all cultural barriers to become the dumbest movie I've seen in an entire generation. But it is also funny as hell. Pootie Tang strives for the dumbness it achieves, a feat few films can do. This is a good kind of dumb, like mooning, like a cat falling off of a table.
That is perfect.
Yeah. And I didn't realize the entire movie, because it's been a while, was going to be framed within the interview until about halfway through the credits. When we went to the opening credits, I realized, wait, so the movie is the clip?
Well, I love that they that's how they end it too, know. That was the longest damn clip I've ever seen.
Just referencing that fact, that was great. But yeah, I loved when they went back to Pootie Tang's childhood and showed that he was always that way. There were grown women who were like fawning over him. I loved the one who was throwing him out. She was like literally throwing his stuff onto the curb, yelling from a window.
You're expecting to see grown up Pootie Tang instead.
It's like a 10-year-old. And the story of how his father died almost fell out of my chair. And this is, again, it's multiple times I've seen it.
Too soon.
His father was mauled to death by a gorilla at a steel mill. And it was the third time it had happened.
If you haven't figured out at that point that they're into, they're expressing absurdism.
Right. And I love the name of the bad guy, Robert Vaughn's character.
Oh.
Dick Lecter.
Dick Lecter. And I think this is... No, I guess it's after he did the Adam Sandler...
Probably, yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, this is 2001, so... And as you referenced in your sponsor, the silent record.
No sound.
They're sitting at the booth, or at the board in the studio, and they're listening to this track. And Pootie Tang just starts bringing faders down until all of the faders are down, and it's silent. And they're just agreeing with this. I think at one point the engineer says, okay, you want to start over again? Like he's going to remix it. No, that was the mix. And then he just walks into the booth and just opens his mouth and basically mimes like he's singing at the top of his lungs. And they cut to people listening to the record, and including Chris Rock as this one DJ who starts destroying his studio because Pootie Tang's the greatest. And people are dancing to silence.
I decided, and it was a brilliant decision on my part, 20 seconds in, I had to listen, I had to use closed caption just to get Pootie Tang's language. And when you just see these hard brackets that keep appearing and say no sound on it while people are freaking out.
Yeah.
It's funny as hell.
Speaking of his language, I found the official Pootie Tang dictionary online that has some of it. It's incomplete, but there's some of it there. And the Wikipedia article also has the translation of some of it. Of course, both will be in the links this week. I made some effort to learn some of it.
Now, would this have been better if Chris Rock didn't have all of those roles? That was a little...
Yeah, it was a little
weird.
Self-indulgent, yeah. Because he played like 3 or 4 characters.
Right. I mean, he played his father, his friend, The DJ.
I think there may have been another one in there. I'm not sure.
There may have been, yeah. I think if he was going to play his father, he shouldn't have been his friend, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, that didn't quite make sense. Although, again, I guess they were just going for the silliness of the whole thing. That's like every shot of the girlfriend. I can't think of her name. Biggie Shorty.
Oh, Wanda Sykes.
Yeah, when she's not talking, they just show her dancing.
Yeah, that was a bit much too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if she had done stuff before this.
I think so. Like minor sitcom stuff, like smaller roles.
Really on the Chris Rock show.
Oh, okay, that's all?
Yeah.
Oh. Now, there are also quite a few comics from the era, mostly 90s comics, who have cameos in this.
Good God, yes.
Or smaller roles, at least.
And I mean...
Dave Attell, Laura Keitel.
Right. They underused Dave Attell, but, I mean, it's still getting, like, half a brain just for half. And Andy Richter, of course.
Andy Richter's another one, yeah, of course. And there's another cameo that I didn't notice until I saw the credits. You mentioned Richter, who played the record company executive. His daughter is played by Kristen Bell.
Oh, really?
Who basically hears the Pootie Tang record, the silent record, and says she's not impressed. And then he just kind of stares her down.
That's okay, yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. I also loved the scene with the groupie. He's at a club and he's on his way out. And there's a groupie who's basically just hanging on to him, talking about how much she loves him. And actually, I think he was on his way to his hotel room. And he's just walking, completely ignoring her as she's like grabbing onto him, ripping his clothes off and kissing him and whatnot. And he just little by little makes his way into his room. And then she said, like, please give me something. He puts a saucer of milk outside the door.
Now, actually, one of my favorite comedian cameos in this was I guess Pootie Tang A is what they're referring to him as.
Oh, yeah. I just, because I couldn't think of his name before, yeah.
David Cross. Right. The whitest dude you can think of.
In blackface.
Yes.
I don't think of him as a comic. I mostly think of him from Arrested Development, but yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Show.
Mr. Show was before that. I never got into Mr. Show. Speaking of the fake Pooties, I love that like half of them look nothing like him.
Of course.
Although the editing in that scene was weird when he's fighting them. I don't know. There was something really jarring about the editing when he's fighting all of these Pootie Tang lookalikes.
Right, because they're doing the old like kung fu,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I guess they're just playing off the editing of the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just rolling back slightly, I loved that Truckee was on the farm for like 2 minutes.
Yes, after pretty much doing the Bubba, Gump kind of thing about everything they're going to do on the farm and
practically begging Pootie Tang to take him with him.
Yeah,
he's there for like 2 minutes, does a little bit of work, and says, "Okay, I can't take him out here.
I can't do this."
And the line that we used for the intro, the little fight he has with Costas when he says, "Call me on the panty sty," and then just adds the word "down," and it turns from an insult to a compliment.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
apparently that one word makes a huge difference. Looks like I'm done with my notes.
Yeah, I think I am too.
No sequels or remakes because this was a pretty big failure. And I don't want to see it remade. I think it needs to be left on its own because
they actually promise a sequel at the end.
Well, they do, which is how I picked up one of his lines. But it's going to be like what was it? Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Crime League.
Right.
It's going to be one of them. I kind of don't want to see it done now. It's this kind of weird little movie that I love, but I don't think it could be captured again.
It's of its time,
Yeah, very much.
A pre 9/11 world. It's it's making these statements before any of the Occupy movements
exactly
even came to light. So if you just did it now, it would just be kind of piling on.
Right, and it would just be saying what's already been said a million times in a million places, and it wouldn't be as special. And I don't know that anybody else could pull it off like Lance Crowther did. I think he was perfect for the role.
I mean, I guess if you did like a son of Pootie Tang or something like that,
Yeah,
I don't know.
possibly. You'd have to maybe track him from a kid, but then just gets repetitive.
Yeah.
All right, on to Brains.
On the brains.
I love this movie, and watching it again just reaffirmed how much I love it. I'm going 5.
I mean, I think it could have been better. It seemed like a very odd choice for him to make a movie about, but this white guy making a movie about black culture, but it isn't, I guess, just black culture. It is culture in general that he's talking about.
Actually, I remember reading when he got the job. I read a little interview with him about it as well. When he got the job on Chris Rock, Chris Rock actually told him, "Don't think of this as a black show. Write the normal like, quirky shit you were writing for Conan for this show."
It makes sense. I mean, it's still good, and the only reason why I'm going to put it on the rec list is because, one, you had a protagonist that never spoke a single coherent line, and 2, fantastic fucking casting of really funny people.
Yeah.
Would have loved to have seen more Dave Attell, of course.
And also shout out to JB Smoove. He doesn't get enough work, but I always really like him. He played Truckee.
There's also like Todd Barry had like a cameo in here. It's crazy fucking casting. So I'm going 4 brains.
All right, and what have we learned?
That there were actually 48 episodes of the British television drama series The Hustle. How the fuck did they work that many plots out of her? Oh, we're pulling a con this week.
And you know what else? The Hustle actually made it to 48 episodes.
That's what I just said.
All right, so in 3 weeks, like I said, we're taking the next 2 weeks off because we always do that in early June, when we'll be reviewing Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death. Go to zombieticket.com, check out the album art, the episode description, of course, the episode itself, which you're already listening to. Links to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube. Links to subscribe via RSS and iTunes. Please leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. Reminds me, I need to check the review sometime soon. Also, if you enjoy the show, spread the word. Give us a little word of mouth. Of course, we appreciate the listeners we have, but more would be better. You'll also find the movie list, every movie we've reviewed so far, and every movie we're going to review. Again, 300 will be revealed when we get to 295. I think I figured out the actual placeholder. I think it's Dress to Kill. I don't think we plan to do that one.
Oh, okay.
At like 305, I think it is. You also find the request form. If you've got a movie you'd like to hear us review, please leave it on the request form. And of course, the recommendations list. I'm glad this one made it to the rec list. I wasn't sure.
It was kind of borderline for me, but how could I say no to Andy Richter and Dave Attell?
Yeah. You can email us, zombieticket@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail at 414-368-CTO1, or for the alphanumerically challenged.
Thinking, what a time.
414-368-9861. Of course, always remember that you'll always be calling from the middle of Milwaukee. And until next time, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
Town.
All right, get off him already. He don't want none of your mess.
So we were just looking at the calendar and what we have coming up and realizing we have to crowbar in Sharknado.
Yes.
And we decided that we want to review Sharknado as soon as possible, which means we'd have to split the Charlie Kaufman two-parter we have coming up. So we've made a change. We're going to push Cannibal Woman off until after Sharknado, so it'll be in August. We're going to be coming back with, and I can never say the name of this movie properly, Synecdoche, New York, starting a Charlie Kaufman two-parter, the 2 movies that he's both written and directed. And then we're going to be reviewing Sharknado the night it airs.
Right. So right after it's done, we're going to record it.
We're going to watch it live, get on Skype maybe like a half hour later just to, freshen up and just, prepare ourselves. And then we're going to record. I'm going to edit that night. We're going to have what I hope will be the first recorded review out as soon as possible.
A Zombie Takeout exclusive.
I don't think anybody's going to get any recorded reviews out. I mean, there'll be plenty of written reviews by then, but
Who knows?
Hopefully we'll be one of the first recorded. Anyway, just wanted to explain that instead of having to explain it during the break. Talk to you in 3 weeks.
Happy 4th.